So what is happening? I have to record this video because I just got Ceros and tested a little bit. For a while, the 7-slot AI. And there is something crazy about it. This defense, this version, is my ultimate definite answer against isolation. If you don't know what I mean, this is very difficult to make, but not impossible. I will talk about this later, but first I want to show you some very simple interaction you can make using the 7-slot. So here, Frazier, as you can see, 7-slot. She's not moving, she's not doing anything. She's not even threatened. But she will be danced by Azura because being the 7-slot means she would just end turn. And she will get danced by Azura. So you can understand what happens. Azura giving one movement. And there is a rally on Hollywood. And another dancer. What I want to show you is that it is still possible using the 7-slot to activate the entire AI, including a rally trap. Another possibility for this interaction is a healing. So here I have a restore, but it doesn't really work as a restore because here Sara is a 7-slot, meaning if she ends turn, there is no debuff anymore, no negative status. So the restore cannot target Sara because she has no negative status, but because of wrist, she has a missing HP. So Veronica will heal Sara.
What is your desire?
So it's just a normal healing, nothing to do with restore. Here again, as you can see, the AI will still trigger if a healing happens. So another version here is, for example, having Veronica instead of Sara being in the 7-slot. Let's say she's threatened and everyone else is free of isolation because they are within 2 spaces from Veronica. And so a rally trap can work as intended. I made a video earlier about it, my curve line with a rally up. It counters players who want to isolate Veronica, because the rally trap still protects Veronica without targeting her. But here, however, Veronica ends turn by herself, removing her own isolation, ready to get danced and rallied when possible. The only problem with odd recovery is that it's only working on odd turn, and good players will just wait even turns to start the initiation and use isolation on even turn. Because, let's be honest, many players will redeem their free Formaso on Bridal Film, so she's basically a free unit for whoever wants her. So here is my ultimate answer to isolation. So I made the video earlier on optimized team build for return trap. You can check the link in the description. So here I have no isolation on anyone. I will never get it because if you're watching my videos, you know what I think about isolation. It's anti-strategy tool meant to avoid thinking about AI, and I don't like it. I won't use my Formaso on Bridal Film. But isolation works the same way as panic and gravity status. So I can simulate a negative status using Panic Ploy.
You're sending me?
So only those two units, Mirabilis and Rolf, they have negative status. How to know that? How to know that it works? Kia staff, remember, removes penalties on anyone who has penalties and provide buffs. In other words, if only Mirabilis and Rolf get a +6 attack and speed, I know it cancels any kind of debuffs, negative status, including isolation. So +6 attack speed and Mirabilis +6 attack and speed. And Julia, no. Seros, no. Peony, no. And Benedetta, no. So only Mirabilis and Rolf have no penalty anymore. Let's play a little bit with the structures. Let's say I use Infantry Skull. The Infantry Skull will now hit Seros and Julia. And I am still using Panic Ploy against Mirabilis and Rolf. So now 1, 2, 3, 4 units have negative status.
Me? Time to settle up.
So now you should see Mirabilis, Rolf, Seros and Julia, they will get +6 attack and speed. Let's see, as expected, +6, +6, +6, and +6. So it effectively removes the isolation, any negative status. So now remember, the ideal situation is that no one has negative status, because in this case everyone gets +6 attack and speed, which is very nice for starting a very strong initiation turn 1. But things become a bit more difficult when someone has negative status and another doesn't. Remember when
Yes?
I used Panic Ploy on Mirabilis and Rolf, and there was no Infantry Skull. What happened is that Sara used her second reaction on Mirabilis. The answer, in fact, is that a healing trap prioritizes highest visible stat as a target. So here, Mirabilis, unfortunately, is the bonus unit, so she gets a lot of extra stats. To the point I have to remove Fortress Death Seal and place HP +5 instead. If Mirabilis is the only one with negative status, for example, she gets attack speed +6 and will have higher visible stat than either Julia or Rolf, who wants to get returned, not Mirabilis. I don't want Sara to waste an action on Mirabilis. This is why, as you can see, I have Oath skill on Julia to increase her visible stat at start of turn, and I have Fortify Cavalry on Benedetta for Rolf, and added Fortress Death Res seal on Rolf, just to make sure he has enough visible stat at start of turn. So now maybe you have noticed, but except for Sara, everyone has same HP. 54 HP. I changed Mirabilis' weapon. I got plus HP Seros. And I played a little bit with the seals HP. And I also removed the stats refine of Spendthrift Bow to make this happen. As I stated before at the beginning of the video, it's complex, not easy to do. But this is a definite answer to isolation, because your opponent now only has two options. Isolate one of his two dancers, but then being cancelled by Kia Staff, or targeting Sara. But Sara removes her own isolation by ending turn and getting danced. So there is no way you can stop the return, and you don't even need odd recovery anymore. As explained in my other video, odd recovery helps to protect Sara, but the condition is even more difficult to fulfill. Now things get a lot easier thanks to what I would call the 7-slot trap. This is really sick. I suggest using this healing trap only during Anima season, because in Dark you have too many mages. Hell has a wonderful weapon and you don't want to change it. In Anima you have Mirabilis, a sword, giving plus 5 HP. You have Leaf. Eventually you can change his weapon. You can also use Duma during his non-bonus season, because Duma has enough stats. Enough HP. Look at this. Plus HP, this guy has 53. Without plus HP, 49, you get HP seal, and that's okay. The good thing of having two Mirabilis, however, is that instead of two non-mythic dancers, the reality is that dancers don't need additional HP or stats, but damage dealers need the HP and stats to survive and deal more damage, secure follow-up. So having two Mirabilis is good, especially plus attack. Plus HP. I know HP matching is no easy task, I admit, but it's possible with a bit of luck. If your Mirabilis is also minus HP, use Duma or Leaf and two non-mythic dancers. As for damage dealers, there are options such as infantry and cavalry mages. Let me show you that. It's not too difficult. You have to look at your barracks and your IVs, merges. I have Lilina here, HP plus 4, that's okay. Leaf, maybe one more dragon flowers, one more merges, and this is okay. Same for Veronica, she needs more dragon flowers, HP plus 5. Or Reinhardt, just plus 10 Reinhardt, and this is fine. Or infantry, you have many options for infantry. Julia, the other Julia, Alphonse, eventually, even Chrome. You get the idea. One special mention about this is that, as explained before, removing any penalties means you shouldn't be scared of panic now. Use maximum buffs and hit really hard. Look at this. Farja. Imagine Farja. Plus 10, plus attack, dragon flowers, plus 6 to all stats. She gets returned by Sara. She hits really hard. So special mention to blade tomes such as green mage Orwen, red mage Farja. They can be really good. for a return trap. Because negative status will be removed. You get maximum buff, you hit really hard. You can also use something very, very deceptive. What possible thing you can do? Well, this. Remember this guy, he has Odd Tempest. Imagine you place Dimitri instead of Julia, he get returned. He is placing now here, and because of a one additional movement, he can also cross these three. 1, 2, and 3. So he ends up just here. That is deceptive and very strong. You can also, for example, further Odd Tempest and Steady Impact for someone crazy like, I forgot. Yeah, this one. Kada. HP Seal, Steady Impact, Odd Tempest. It could be really, really nasty if you use it well. So, one last thing to say. You can eventually use one unit with much higher HP than the others. Let's say everyone will get 54 HP. Turn 1, and except for Julia, let's say you replace Julia for someone with very, very, very high HP. Someone like Melinus. So why Melinus? He is very special. His HP is so high you cannot isolate this guy. He also avoids panic and tactics room very easily. His stats are about average, so he's not absorbing chills or shrines. So the only way you can create status on Melinus is a cavalry skull used on AR offense. You don't see that often. Especially in Vault of Heaven, players are definitely better. They use less buildings. So if you're confident your high HP unit avoids all negative status, the return works just fine. But if Melinus is the only unit with negative status, well, only Melinus will be protected by Kia staff. So you can isolate Rolf and Mirabilis, and Sara will not use return on Rolf, but only on Melinus, which is not optimal. So yeah, in the end, this 7 slot AI rule is very interesting. Really funny, and as you can see, I am using this setup defense for this week. So I will record obviously the result of my AR defense next time. Thanks for watching.